Is a degree in virtually anything worth it at this point? In my opinion, no. That is just my opinion based on the math, based on the money. I saw this video of this young lady talking about her $650,000 of student loans to become a dentist. The ROI for that is return on investment, doesn't support that. That's an insane investment based upon only what you can do as an individual. You're not really able to leverage all that much. You know, like you can expand, you can get a bunch of hygienists and so on, like you can do things like that. But at a certain point, remember, you're also competing with a lot of other people trying to do the exact same thing with an enormous amount of debt on top of that. No. So in my opinion, no, I don't think that there is a university degree in anything at this point that is worth the money they're charging. Now, you're like, well, but we need to have doctors. We need to have anesthesiologists. We need to have all this stuff. Yes, I agree. We need to have all those things. I would suggest, now, I'm a criminal, right? I'm like a career criminal. Okay? I would suggest to doctors that if you're a decent doctor, any kind of decent doctor out there, take on apprentices, and then just, you can get, inexpensive labor from an apprentice that you can start paying a little bit more as their medical knowledge. This includes surgery, by the way, too. Increases, and then go from there and just eliminate the colleges altogether. Learn to do a lot of your own research. Learn to run a business. For whatever reason, I've run into a lot of doctors that are not very good at business. They're really good at being doctors, but they suck in the business world. And this is why I'm seeing progressively more videos from doctors saying these insurance companies are killing us. Yes, the insurance company is dumping it all on you. They do it to truck drivers all day long. It's getting dumped. I don't think doctors really understand this, but let me talk to you doctors. Even you Porsche Cayenne driving, surgeons out there. Listen to me for just a second here. Okay, listen to some totally uneducated nobody out here in the world. You are part of the working class, whether you like it or not. See, you have to show up and actually do something. Just like I have to show up and do stuff. I have to show up in the heat and go fix a bunch of stuff when it breaks. That's what I have to do. Just like when a person breaks, you have to show up and do something. That automatically puts you in the working class. You can't do a Zoom meeting for that, can you? You can't just say, well, I'll get to it later on, send me an email. Yeah, it doesn't work like that. You can't do one of these fake jobs. You've got to show up and actually perform, and you have to use an actual skill that you've paid a lot of money for, presumably, to get. Well, why does it have to be a lot of money all the time? I'm not kidding about this. I think it's time to start cutting out a lot of middlemen, cutting out the insurance companies, the colleges, all of it. All of these people who don't really add any value to the economy, they mark things up. They're very good at taking something and marking it up. Any idiot can raise prices. That doesn't take any skill at all. It takes a tremendous amount of skill to lower prices. That takes skill. That takes work. That takes, efficiency. That takes understanding physics, right? Because you're trying to get efficient. The more efficient you are in the real world marketplace, not this dollar nonsense, but in the real world, the more you're rewarded because you're becoming more efficient, right? I mean, that's basic science, okay? So, are there any of these degrees or any of this? Really, no, not that I've seen. Not anymore. Authority is something that you earn over time and skill and failures, right? Failure is very important. That's where you get authority. Credentials are something that you buy, or that something is bestowed upon you by some third party. And oh yeah, you know all this stuff now. Here, now you can charge a bunch of money for something. You could apply it to almost anything. But that's really kind of how it is. Authority is earned, credentials are purchased. Right? Okay. We're on the same page. We understand each other now? Okay. So how do you get authority? You go out in the world and you get your head kicked in a bunch. That's what happens. The cruel tutelage of Pai Mei, so to speak. Okay. That's what happens. Okay. So, when you do stuff like that, then you gain that type of experience, and then you're able to teach from that position of authority because you've actually earned it in the real world, not bestowed upon you by somebody else in some weird ceremony or something like that. I'm not picking on this stuff. I understand the tradition. I understand all this stuff. But understand, anybody out there knows that your field researchers will always have more information than anybody in academia. That is just a fact. Anybody who's out there doing it in the real world all day, every day, nonstop for a living is going to have way more information, way more, than anybody in an academic setting. Because they're going to be teaching from theory, they're teaching from notes, they're teaching white papers, and on and on and on. It's just not the same thing. When you get into the real world, it changes entirely. So no, my suggestion to since I'm picking on doctors, and I'm really not. I mean, I have a problem with the medical profession in general right now, in that I don't trust a lot of people, frankly, because I see what's happened. I know other people in the medical profession that don't trust the medical profession at this point. Even they're getting a little concerned about it. Yeah, it's because of all these middlemen. It's because nobody knows what's going on. You've got too many people between a doctor and a patient. Just too many. And they all want to make $100,000 a year. Everybody between you and your patient all want to make $150,000 a year, right? That's how it works. So, yeah, and there's only so much of that to go around. So, since I'm picking on the doctors, I see more and more of you are starting to get to this idea of we need to do this a different way. Part 2 of this video, because I'll just consider this part 2, let me give you a suggestion on this. Number 1, get away from private bankers. They are not your friends. Stop taking their phone calls. Hey, this is so-and-so with Gigantic Mega Bank. I'm in the private banking section. Let's talk because you're a doctor and we want to get you swimming in a bunch of fucking debt. Yeah, no. They are not on your, I promise you, they are not on your side. Well, complicated relationships, I gotta wait to get billed, I gotta wait to be paid by the insurance company, etc. Yeah, I know all that. Don't let them factor your invoices anymore. Stop doing that. That means that you're gonna, this puts you in the real world where you get to see exactly what everybody's dealing with all this. Well, I'm already not getting paid. Yeah. That's why I would suggest, and I would say this to a restaurant owner, I would say this to a bar owner, I would say this to a car lot, I would say this to anybody. Try to get the land, the dirt, first, as quickly as you can. You work for a hospital, do whatever you got to do and everything, but use cash and try to get the land. Build your own building and then have your practice there. And that removes a whole bunch of expenses, removes a whole bunch of other ancillary costs. You're not paying a bunch of endless debt on this, and then run it like that and bring your prices down. But then I can't afford a Porsche Cayenne. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you about that. Nowhere is it written anywhere. Did any paperwork that you signed for your, to go to college, did it say that you're guaranteed to live in a $4 million house and have a trophy wife? I'm almost positive it said nothing like that in the paperwork. In fact, I would put money, it probably doesn't say anything about that. It has better odds of saying that you need to provide a bowl of peanut M&Ms with no brown ones in it to your professor. It has better odds of saying that than it does of saying, hey, we guarantee you live in a $4 million house and have a trophy wife and drive a Porsche Cayenne. Maybe it's time for you to realize that, yes, you are part of the working class. Well, but the working class are getting beat up. Yeah, they certainly are. That's the currency being made worthless. That's the dollar being turned into fucking dog shit. That's what's doing that. That's all those private bankers trying to get you in debt. I'm leaving a lot of stuff out, but I think you get the gist of what I'm saying. This may be the day of reckoning, that the people who actually find out that the ones who do all the work start realizing that why are we doing all the work and a bunch of people are doing a bunch of fake jobs, doing Zoom meetings all day and having their 75th interview at the HR department so that some HR chick can, boss babe can justify her position there.